Today, I'm going to share with you an industry secret. Well, it's not a big secret. It's just something small I stumbled upon a couple of years ago that really saves me so much time, headache, and frustration when I get back home after a long day of shooting, capturing video on my scope cam to share with you guys. Now, are you maybe using a scope cam and you went out for a day and you got that perfect shot and you got back home, you want to review that video and all you can see is a crisp and clear reticle, but everything in the background is so fuzzy and blurry you can't even see the projectile in flight, or you can't even see where you aimed at. Now that has happened to me so many times in the past until I stumbled upon this method that I'm going to show you guys today. And nowadays a lot of people are using scope cam for informational purposes to see what the projectiles are doing in flight so they can maybe correct it in some way, or people like me making videos for you guys to enjoy. So this method I'm going to show you guys today works on any brand of scope and on any brand of scope cam setup. So you may wonder, what are we going to do then today? Well, we are going to calibrate the parallax focus on the scope. So again, this is going to work on any brand of scope. So you're probably wondering then, why doesn't it work straight away out of the box? Now, there's a good reason for it. All the scopes are basically calibrated somewhere in a factory, but they normally calibrate it to a more or less specific area for our eyes. Now, our eyes are very advanced and we can shift our focus from the reticle to the background very quickly. So to have a quick reference to guide us where we need to focus for a specific range is good enough. But unfortunately, for the scope cams that we are basically using, we are working with a camera with a fixed lens and fixed focus. That focus is normally set up to focus onto the reticle, and anything beyond the reticle is basically focused up with the side parallax wheel. So that's the reason why we need to calibrate the side parallax wheel today to work hand in hand with our camera. It's really easy. It does take some time in the beginning, but once you have done it, you are basically set. I'm going to share some things that I've done that is also helping me a ton nowadays, and hopefully you can also find it helpful as well. So to do this, we are going to need a couple of things, but luckily it's something that we can find around the house, so it's going to make it easy and simple, like I said before. So first of all, we are going to need a ruler to measure things. We are going to need a pen, recommended with a sharp point. The reason for that is we are going to make marks on the side parallax wheel, and if you are using a pen with a big ballpoint, you won't be able to make your marks. There are certain points where we are going to get close to the previous marks, and you will need a pen with a sharp point. You are going to need a pair of scissors, masking tape obviously to mark on, clear tape, you guys will see in a bit why we're going to need this, your scope cam, a laser rangefinder, a target of some kind, a rest to keep your gun steady, obviously your scope and gun. You can take your scope off your gun if you really wish to do so, but I would strongly recommend to keep it on there because it's just going to make your life super easy at the end of the day. So basically that's all we are going to need. I'm going to move the camera a bit closer and show you guys exactly how we're going to go about it to get the masking tape onto the parallax wheel and then go about putting our new indications on it. So as you can see, we already have indications on our side parallax wheel. This one goes down from 10 yards all the way to 500 yards and then infinity. So what we need to do is basically stick a piece of masking tape on this section so we can have a place to make new marks on it. So what I like to do is I like to take my ruler and then measure from the body of the scope to the edge of this wheel where I grab it. And this is going to be roughly 7 millimeters. I'm not sure if you're going to see it on the camera, but I'm going to make it 5 millimeters. And the reason for that is I found in the past that if you make it too tight in that space, the tape will maybe catch the tube when you rotate this knob, and your indications will move, which will lead to redoing the whole process. So I'm going to have a 2 millimeter play from the tube to the tape, which is going to be perfect. So let me quickly show you how I go about that. So the next step in this process is basically to make a line all the way around the masking tape, 5 millimeters from the edge of the masking tape. Now I know this sounds a little bit difficult, but it's really easy. I have found that if I take my masking tape and put it flush onto the table, and my pen with the sharp point also flush onto the table, and just make a quick mark. Take my ruler and quickly just see what we have there. That is exactly 5 millimeters, so that's exactly what we are going to need. I can just carry on with the process. Go all the way around. I always like to go a little bit further than what I need. I can always cut off the excess. Now we have a perfect line around our masking tape, and we can cut that strip out. Now I know this may be different from pen to pen, but if you need a little bit more on the pen, like lift it up, you can always use your ruler, put it underneath the pen and just go about marking the masking tape. Or if you need to lift the masking tape, just put something flush under it and basically rotate it. It's really easy. So after this, we are basically going to take our masking tape. Let's see, where is that edge now? Really sticky. There we go. I'm going to take this piece like so, tear it off. Then I'm just going to stick it onto my GoPro for now, so something can keep it there. And now I'm just going to move it into the frame. I can just cut out this strip. Now I'm not going to bore you with this. I'm quickly going to cut it out, and then I'm going to take you through the next step in this process. Really easy so far. So now that we have our long strip of masking tape, we can just stick it around the side parallax wheel, so we can have a new place to mark on. I'm going to try to work as best as I can around the camera. It is a bit difficult, so bear with me. So I'm just going to try to get it in there as close as possible to the place where I keep my fingers on. And just rotate it. Just don't want it to get off here. And then on the top part, I like to basically stick over the other end to keep it in place, and then just make sure that it's stuck there very well. We don't need or want this piece to basically move. If it moves, we need to go through the whole process again, like I said before. So that should be enough. I can just take my pair of scissors that I put away, and I'm just going to snip the excess off like so. Obviously it's on the piece where you guys won't be able to see now, but that should be perfect. Actually, that's a little bit too far for my liking. I'm just going to move it ever so slightly, and I'm going to explain why. You don't want your minimum range to cross over the piece where you basically stuck the tape over each other. Otherwise, the last step of this whole process probably won't work for you. I think that should be fine right there. I'm just going to snip that edge off again. Just like so. And then again, just give it a good rub and make sure it's stuck very well there. Just like that. That should be perfect. 100%. Okay. Now I like to do this, and I'm going to explain why in a bit, but I like to then take the pen, and then on the minimum, as far as I can go back on the minimum range, I'm going to make an indication on that line of mine. Again, I'm going to try to work around the camera as best I can. That should be right there, minimum. And then my infinity, which is my maximum, I'm also going to make a mark there. Again, I'll explain why I did this. later in the video, but it's very important that you do that. So between the infinity mark and the minimum mark is where we are basically going to make our new indications. So next up, we are going to head outside with our target and our laser rangefinder and our pen, and I'm going to show you what we need to do next. So for this step, I would strongly recommend you to be out at a shooting range or a very big field, or maybe a gravel road where the grass won't affect you so much, because we are going to basically put our target out to the specific meters or yards that we want to make indications onto the new tape. So first up, we need to basically put our scope cam on. I'm going to start recording so I can take you guys step through step with what I'm doing. Just going to line it up like I always do. That should be fine. Just like that. I'm going to square it out now. That should be okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my target, walk out. I'm going to start at 15 meters and then go to maybe 30 meters. I'll see. This is just for demonstration purposes. And then I'm going to range back towards the gun. It's just going to be easier than ranging towards something, then walking to it. So let me quickly go put out my target. Alright, so my target is out at 15 meters. What I need to do now is make my gun aim towards that target. And what I'm going to do is going to come in behind my gun and quickly just get onto target and use my rest just to line everything and keep it steady. Just like that should be fine. I'm going to keep it with my hand and then just have a look at my screen. Now if your device don't have a screen, you can always use your smartphone, pair it up with it and use the phone as a viewfinder to see what's going on. So just need to lift it up ever so slightly, just like that, and now I can start rotating the parallax wheel until I get a good, clean, sharp picture like that. And then what I like to do is take the magnification ring, put it on maximum as far as your scope will allow for it, and then just make fine adjustments to get that picture very sharp, just like that. And you can go back to your desired magnification. With this specific scope, I'm going to keep it on 12, and that is our 15 meter mark. So then what I do then is take my pen. I'll put some inserts here for you guys to see. I'm going to make a mark for 15 meters right on that line, like so. I'll rotate it up ever so slightly and then just right there 15, very small. So now we can go move the target to 20 meters and I'll take you through the same step again. So I quickly went to put it on 20 meters. I'm quickly gonna shift the gun again a bit so we can get onto target. Keep it steady, that should be fine, just like that. Come around and see what's going on here. You can see it's ever so slightly out of focus. And I'll start rotating it. Just like that, that looks sharp. Up the magnification. That looks perfect, just like that. Now again, I can just make a mark on the parallax wheel quickly. Before I move it. Just like that. And now I can rotate it and just make a mark of 20. I'll put a little insert here again so you guys can see. Now just a big tip, I would strongly recommend you to go in increments of 5 meters or 5 yards, but just make a note of your lines. Don't go mark them all straight at once while you make your mark. The reason for that is the further you get, let's say for instance between 60 and 70 meters, you may fall on the same focal plane, which means the line will be exactly on the same spot. So then afterwards you can just go make a 60 to 70 mark on your tape that you've stuck on there. That has happened to me on almost all of my scopes, and I roughly go out all the way to about 150 meters. After 150 meters, the focal plane is so small that the camera can, focus on that. So between 150 or 150 to 200 meters is going to be exactly on the same focal plane. I hope it really makes sense there. It's really easy, like I said. Well, I'm going to stop at 20 meters for demonstration purposes. I need to get out of the sun, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Just repeat this process until you've reached the desired range that you want to mark and indicate on your parallax wheel. After you have done that, I would strongly recommend you then to use your clear tape and just stick it over your masking tape so your indications do not come off when you do touch it by accident. You can also go a step further, like what I have done. After I've done this whole process, I then take the masking tape off and take it to a local printing company. They then basically print me these stickers. This is a whole roll of stickers. This is for my Vector Optics Continental 4x24x56, and now I can replace that sticker each time it gets damaged or whatever the case may be. Now I don't know if you can recall, but somewhere in the middle of this video where I've cut out the strip and stuck it onto the focus wheel, I've made marks of the minimum and maximum focal points. And the reason for that was I have that exact same marks on these stickers. So if I need to replace them, I can just line them up with the minimum and maximum, and I know my indications are spot on each time I need to replace that sticker. Again, it's really simple and easy to do. It just takes some time to basically go through this whole process, but it's really worthwhile. Honestly, I hope that this video helps some of you guys out. If you know of somebody that's struggling with this, please send this video to them. Hopefully it will help them as well. I'll be on the lookout for you guys with the tape around your focus wheel. Hopefully you have saw it with me first, and I would be proud to take this one upon me. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Again, I hope this video helped you out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.